Assalamu alaikum students, welcome to another lecture in hospital pharmacy, and it is the 12th lecture. We are discussing chapter purchasing, distribution and inventory control of medicine, and the topic of today is inventory control of medicine. So important topics which be part of this topic. First of all, we will discuss what is inventory, then inventory control and its significance, methods of analysis of inventory, and methods of order issuing. So these are the main highlights of today's lecture. So what is inventory? So first of all, it is important to understand its proper definition. So according to Webster definition, the quantity of goods or the materials on hand is called inventory. Means inventory is a storage of goods of any specific kind and which are on hand, which are be able to be used and uh, which you have the access to. So goods have a very important significant place in any company or organization, especially if they are dealing with certain exchange matters. Like we can take the example of hospital. Hospital is treating the patients, and of course during the process, for charging the patient, they are also diagnosing them, they're treating them, and also providing them medication. So all these matters need goods and certain stuffs or the equipment or the medication, whatever you call that, medical supplies in proper quantity to be present and on hand. So goods or the materials is the essential element of any of the organization, right from hospital industry, private enterprise or government department. I just given the example of hospital, but the same situation is applicable to any other company or organization like the industry which is involved in the same sort of matter. So what is inventory control? Uh, Thus, inventory control is the method of maintaining of stock at a level at which purchasing and stocking costs are at the lowest possible without interference with the supply. It means that inventory control is that method with the help of which the stock is maintained at a level that it doesn't cost much, first of all, and secondly the supplies never get interfered or get interrupted. Supplies are totally in time. But the important thing about stock or stocking the medicine is that that stock would be used within a reasonable period of time, and the medicine or the goods are not get expired, because that would also be a sort of loss. So the stock should also be at lowest possible cost, and supply shouldn't be interrupted. And this balance of uninterrupted supply with the lowest possible cost of the stock on hand is a method or procedure which is called inventory control. Okay, so what could be the possible significance of inventory control? It is that it helps to maintain balance between purchasing and stocking, as we just discussed. And in this way, drugs are avoided to get out of stock as you're having drugs on hand, and you can get uninterrupted supply out of that stock, and that stock is reasonable enough to not to get expired also, and also providing drugs with a constant supply, and it helps to maintain optimum stock, neither excessive nor likely to be exhausted. So these are the basic significance of inventory control, and definitely it helps a lot. So coming again to significance, that there is a possibility that the stocking is made in large quantity, and But the downside associated with that is, first of all, it would need a large storage place, and the second most biggest drawback is that if it doesn't get used within time, or if not sold within the due time, or if its inventory control means if not smart enough, so what will happen that this expiry of the medication or the medicines will be over, product will get wasted, and organization will be in loss. So the better way of stock management is through a proper inventory control, which balancefies and which works on the optimization principle, and not that getting the stock in at a very low price but a very big stock. And so that now, though you got that at a very good price, but it is quite a possibility that half of that would be wasted because your inventory control is not smart enough, and your most of the products are getting wasted because their expiry are getting over. So various methods of analysis for stocking are used because definitely inventory control is a proper method or a procedure, and it involves certain methods for the analysis of stocking. And in this regard, various methods are used, including ABC system of analysis, VET system of analysis, and HML system of analysis. There are others many, but the most frequently and popularly uh, used system of analysis are ABC and VET system of analysis. So we will focus on these two systems. So first of all, we discuss the ABC system of analysis. In this system, drugs are stored based on their cost. Items can be categorized into three groups based on their annual expenditure. So the method adopted is such that on the basis of the previous year expenditure, which was incurred in the previous completed year, that list of drugs is prepared, and now after that, what is done, that drugs are arranged in the descending order of the amount of expenditure. Means at the top of the list would be the drugs which have highest amount of expenditure, and then down below would be the drugs uh, which are having the amount of expenditure in the descending order. It would be decreasing gradually. Then the cumulative cost should be calculated beginning from the first item of the list, as we just discussed that drugs are arranged in descending order, and at the top of the list would be the drugs or the drug which is having the largest or the heaviest amount of expenditure. So now the cumulative cost is calculated, and beginning from the first item of the list. Now, based on the estimated cost, items are divided into three groups. So these groups are Group A, B, and C. Now, when you look at the Group A, it's very interesting. And first of all, let's assume that all the drugs or the medications or the medicines, you just take them 100%. All the items are 100%. Now, 10% of the items, according to this list, will be seen to consume 70% of the budget. Now you can see that it is uh, a big amount of the budget which is being consumed by only 10% of the items which were at the top of the list. And these are called Group A items. When you look at the second group, Group B, it constitutes almost 20% of the total items, and it consumes 20% of the budget too. So it is quite a proportionate division. Group C consists of remaining 70% of the items and consumes only 10% of the budget. You can see that the situation here is totally reversed as compared to the Group A, where the 10% of items were consuming 70% of the budget, while here 70% of the items are consuming 10% of the budget. Thus, it can be easily judged that category A should be high priority and managerial attention if it is consuming 70% of the budget, despite the fact that it is only 10% of the items which are required. It constitutes only 10% that it must be of high significance because it's consuming too much of a budget. So their stock consumption purchase should be critically watched and controlled, needless to say. VET system of analysis. Now in this system, grouping of drugs or materials is based according to the criticality in patient care, not on the basis of their expenditure, and they are being arranged in the descending order based on their amount of expenditure. Now it is being used in according to their use or criticality in patient care. V items are the crucial drugs having no alternatives and constitute about 10% of the total drugs. It is extremely important to avoid the out of stock position of these drugs. E items are the essential items that constitute 40% of the items and if not available immediately, that can be arranged in a day or two. Then there comes the D items that are desirable ones which constitute up to 50% of the drugs. However, their absence is allowed for longer periods as alternatives are available. So despite the fact that these drugs are desirable, these are preferred, but their alternatives are available all the time. So their unavailability is not an issue if their absence is for a much longer period of time. Then another system is HML system of analysis as well. It is also used equally popular, but it's almost the same as we discussed in the EBC system. The items are classified according to high cost, medium cost, and low cost. So division is almost, or categorization of the items is almost the same as in case of ABC system. There are two popular ways to order medicine. First is called two bin system. The second one is called cyclic system. Looking at the two bin system, what policy is adopted when it is being worked out through two bin system? Instead of placing orders at fixed periods, order is made when item level reaches a certain predetermined level. Following is essential information. So what essential information you will need? First of all is the lead time. This is defined as the average interval between placement of order for supply of some items and actual receipt of material for use. Means you order something. Now, when you issue that order, it doesn't mean that you would receive items the same day or the same time. No, it doesn't happen like that. When you order something, you would be bound to receive the items definitely over a period of time that could be from 1 week to 1 month, or it could be 2 months, depending upon the nature of the items which you order. So what happens that first of all, it's very important for you to know the lead time if you want to order the items when their level is reached at a certain level, and which is a predetermined level. So actually you want to know or calculate that predetermined level. So minimum order level. Now what is that? This is the quantity of material derived by calculating average daily consumption of material and multiplied by total lead time. I repeat again. First of all, we discussed that in case of this two-bin system, we are not ordering drugs in a specific way, but we order in a predetermined way, and for that we need to calculate a predetermined level when we have to order the thing. We are not adopting the periodic way, but we just want to order the items when the amount of that item in the stock is at a level that it is hinting upon to get reordered. So for after understanding the lead time minimum order level. Now this is the quantity of material derived by calculating average daily consumption of the material. First of all, what is, you take any of the item and you calculate its daily consumption, like let's suppose it is this much gram or these many bottles or uh, these many tablets. Then you multiply it with total lead time. That means that if that item is ordered, then in how many days could possibly we can attain or receive that. So that is that means that you are multiplying the daily consumption of a certain item with its receivable time period. So you can understand it in a much better way with the help of an example. For example, average daily consumption of the 5% dextrose is 50 bottles. Now you can see 50 bottles. This is the thing which is average daily consumption. Okay? So 50 bottles and total lead time is 30 days. Total lead time is 30 days, means that these 50 bottles of dextrose, if once ordered, would be received possibly within 30 days. So this is the total lead time. The minimum order level is 1500 bottles. Now this is something which we just derived, minimum order level. So it is very easy to calculate if you know that in how much time a certain item would be received and what is the daily consumption of that item. You will multiply the both and you will get the minimum order level. Now what is actually meant by the minimum order level? It means that if you have less than that, then you are bound to face the stock out condition. If you are having 1500 bottles for 5% dextrose in the stock, it means you are supposed to order, because the time period involved is sufficiently enough to get these bottles consumed, and you would be left with nothing if, for example, you didn't order in time. So 1500 bottles of 500 dextrose left in the stock, a clear indication that you need to reorder, you need to issue the order. Then comes the cyclic system, and it is much easier, but it is not that precise, you can say, because in this system, stock of various items are checked with certain periodicity to find out the consumption patterns and the balance in hand, so as to place order to bring up the stock to the desired level. It means that, for example, during a 6 months period of time, um, in the start, various items have been stocked. Now, during those 6 months period, now here I am giving only the example. It could be 3 months, it could be a certain time period, which is, it could be a financial budget time period, which is being adopted for by any hospital. So, for example, initially any item have been ordered. Now, with a certain period over a certain period, it would be assessed for its quantity. For example, it is being used rapidly and its demand is higher, so definitely supply is faster. So in this way, an item is being consumed much fastly, and so you need to restock it. So whenever the next periodic ordering time will come, you will order that item which quantity is decreasing day by day, and leaving those items which are still present in enough quantity. You will be leaving those items to reorder in the next periodic order time, at the next periodic order time. So in this periodic ordering system, the inventories are regulated by quantities ordered each time. The period between the order remains the same. For example, over a 6 months of period of time, after every 1 month, the orders, the quantities of various items is checked, and if any quantity is decreasing, it will be reordered. Similarly, after 1 month again, and other. So there is quite a possibility that meanwhile anything, you could be running out of any item anytime. So you can see that there is this deficiency associated with this system, though it is much simpler. It is much simpler, and not too many calculations are involved in it. But despite the fact that it is a simplistic system, but it is carrying certain drawbacks which you can't see, you don't see in case of two-bit system.